ignorance, weakness, the Omicron virus, and others create a meltdown in markets. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, the 5th of December. And, well, it was quite the week, and we'll get into it all. But, of course, this update, the first part, is sponsored by our friends at the Capital Trading Group, that is CTG. They are one of our brokerage partners, one of many. And, of course, I have many brokers, and to give you always full disclosure, but CTG is our preference for our commodities and futures trading. In fact, they're the only ones I've authorized for letter direction trading. They have some great new products of their own. In fact, they have a new one they're coming out with tomorrow, which we introduced last week, of the Day Trader's Dream. And, of course, they trade all my accounts. So check them out. info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. That's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. And in the meantime, as I said, between the Omicron virus, the giving up of our freedoms, and the hatred being created by this administration and the progressives, and the ability to divide and conquer, that's one of the leading indicators of a civilization in decline. As we have turned all of our power over to our best friends, China, Saudi Arabia, and Russia. Okay, the three nations that would love to see us get buried. And, of course, we let the free flow of illegals come running in, and we've now, with no longer charging for crimes of a theft of under $1,000 and wanting to defund the police. And you tie that with the Antifa protesters, and what do you got? You got a revolution percolating. Okay, you got problems that are starting to show. And, this has become a much bigger problem. And, of course, it continues to get ignored. And you continue to worry about the nonsense, and you let the progressive agenda, which does not have your best interest at heart. Remember always that the Green New Deal is a piece of crap. It is not something that is to our benefit, because we are already the greenest nation in the world. We've gone through this weekly. But again, with the inflation that they refuse to admit, with the horrible jobs number, but of course, the president is out trying to tout the decline in the jobless percentage. But of course, what he does not explain is that the reason that declines, it's not because of job growth, because the expectation was 550,000 jobs on Friday, and we got 210. It is the people that quit looking. Okay. In the meantime, you have 11 million jobs open and 9 million people working. But of course, you keep pumping them full of stimulus and giving them a reason not to work. And why would they work? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And you tie that in with runaway inflation, which is what is it? Is it going to be inflation, deflation, or stagflation? Okay. Well, we know right now that the inflation is much higher than they admit to. Now, they're admitting that it exists, which they did not forever, but now they're admitting it. Okay. And of course, the problem here, even if you go with their numbers, which are, let's say, 7% inflation, hourly growth or wage growth only grew 4%, 4.8 to be exact. Okay. So you're at a net loser to begin with. Okay. So there is problem number one. Okay. But of course, let's keep letting Congress spend like drunken sailors, give themselves raises during COVID, because of course we can just print more money. And what does that mean? It means that you get to pay a bigger tax bill. It means that they have to continue to inflate themselves out of debt, hoping that they can basically borrow their way out of the debt cycle, which is impossible. Again, this is not new. This is a bubble. The bubble is approximately, it looks like it might be starting to pop. Okay. But it will be a definite bloodbath. We cannot time it. I am not going to tell you that it is tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you that this is the start of it right now. I do see a potential repeat of the Black Christmas of 2018. But again, we might turn around and go right back up. But of course, we've seen some major issues that are being created here, and with all the illegal immigration coming in. And it's funny because President Biden has now restarted President Trump's program of telling him to stay in Mexico. Okay, because of this Omicron virus, with whether or not vaccination should be done or not, and I have no idea. I will give you full disclosure that I have been vaccinated and I've had my booster. I don't know if it's right or wrong, though. I don't know if we continue and they continue to chip away at the freedoms that we have. Okay, and that is one of my concerns. We've lost much of the freedom of speech, which we will talk about more in our commentary later, but we've lost many freedoms going forward. And, again, even to the vaccine, Kyrie Irving cannot play basketball. Now, listen, I don't like Kyrie Irving, so I really don't care. But from a freedom standpoint, he is not allowed to play because in New York, you must be vaccinated, and Brooklyn will not allow him to play on the road only. But Nevada has now gone to imposing a surcharge on unvaccinated workers. And again, I don't know what the right thing is, so I'm not going to pretend that the right or wrong. I'm not a virologist or whatever what you want to call, but I do know that it is an infringe on your freedom, and that's something that is somewhat of a concern. But I think probably a bigger concern from a financial and money standpoint, okay, is the inversion of the yield curve once again. Okay, and what that really means to you, okay, it means the money that you borrow, you're going to pay a higher rate from the money that you save. Okay, in inverting yield curve, usually the curve goes out and up. Okay, higher rates are in the distance, but when it inverts, you pay more for what you borrow, you collect more, you collect less for what you're saving. And that has always been a very big problem in the markets. And of course, one of the bigger problems, and of course, naturally, the Democrats and Republicans agree because they're all criminals, okay, on, well, let's extend or raise the debt ceiling. Okay, when are we going to, as citizens, step up and say, hey, why don't you live within a budget like everybody else has to? Okay, I understand world catastrophes that must be addressed with real money, but I do not understand taking raises during COVID. I do not understand spending on programs that mean nothing. And I don't understand creating this moronic inflation, plus the fact that then you tap the SPR and give the oil to China and India. Okay, I thought that oil was for us to help cut down. Now, I would have not, as I said last week, I would not have drained the SPR, which is a strategic petroleum reserve. I would have just simply turned back on the shale producing and the fracking, okay? Because this country, as of today's usage, we have over a 200-year supply of oil. Okay, we are already the greenest country in the world. So why are we worried about the environment today when 36% of the world is polluting like drunken sailors, using coal to an excess? In fact, we have a shortage in coal now as well. Okay. So, why would you want to profit from your natural resources? But of course, we don't want to profit. We want to torture and penalize Americans. Okay. His energy decisions are as ignorant as can possibly be. And they are a direct correlation to the inflation that you're seeing. Okay. Remember that oil is the number one used natural resource product that we use. It goes into almost everything that you do or use, okay, including bottled water and other healthy items. It takes a lot of energy and fossil fuel to build an EV. So again, let's not be stupid that we're doing anything dramatic. All we're really doing is torturing and penalizing Americans to pay more money and higher taxes because this administration wants to get universal basic income, okay? Because they want to give more of your money away. Remember, it's your money they're giving away because they're not giving it away. The government is takers, not makers. They produce nothing but debt. And if we go back to the original structure of what government was supposed to be, city, state, region, Fed overseas, not the federal government is the number one employer. Okay. So you're seeing whether we're going to see inflation, deflation, or stagflation. That is such a real possibility, and none of them are good. Out of all, the best is always inflation. At least assets are inflating. But the deflation is a disaster, and stagflation is worse. Okay. And for those of you who may remember the Jimmy Carter era, and I'm not blaming Jimmy Carter, I'm just saying that era when interest rates were through the moon because people were not working, and yet we had them to inflate other assets. It's a disaster. Okay. So you're seeing, obviously, the first creak in the housing bubble, which may be collapsing. And of course, what does our president do? He increases the tariffs on lumber. I mean, really? Okay. Now again, hey, whatever. I'm not in government. I'm not the president. I'm laughing because when I look at some of the decisions that are made, you almost have to laugh instead of crying. But you know that the divide and conquer theory that is used by Marxists, communists, and socialists is very much real in play right now. You know that the whole process, when you have the easy solution right now to fix everything and make many of the problems go away, and not only that, but possibly pay back a large portion of your debt because you can sell liquefied natural gas and oil as a net exporter again, which then makes money instead of losing money, that becomes the bigger problem. And that's where I see some real issues in what we're doing. And you're seeing, many investors start to shift to some more conservative assets, Appaloosa, David Tepper. But we have an administration that doesn't really care right now, because their agenda is what they care about, not the American people, but their agenda to actually control the cycle. Now, you know that we're already screwed because you only have two basic choices anyways, right? If you compare to our political party, it's Coke and Pepsi. There ain't no RC Crown Cola. There's nobody else. There's Coke and there's Pepsi. Okay. And that's obviously not fair. And that doesn't give us a true legitimate choice. I mean, if you look at the last two presidents that we've had, they're 100 years old. But of course, who would want that job because of the treatment that they get? But you've got Bernie Sanders, who has really created the Progressive Party and made it much stronger because, he's the perfect example of what we don't want. There's a man that never worked a day in his life, owns 6 homes. Okay. But yet he's chirping on about what we need to do. But these are the problems that eventually have to come down and roost themselves, because you cannot continue to tax. All right. Because basically, if you remember you wouldn't remember it, but if you've read about the Revolutionary War, taxation without representation, which is exactly what we have today. We are being taxed because of high inflation. We are being taxed on everything without being represented properly to what we are trying to get handled for ourselves, which creates the much bigger problem, which will create another revolutionary war. You can take it to the bank. And if you've listened to my programs for years, you've heard me nail so far exactly what we're seeing today. And you can bet that if it continues at this pace, you better find a shelter, because there'll be bombs bursting in air. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, December the 5th. And of course, we're in Vegas for our big seminar. But of course, we have many people who help put this show together and sponsor us, and our other brokerage partner, who, again, we have other brokers, but who we prefer and we recommend highly is Tradier. And that is, first of all, it's $10 a month. Okay. In fact, I did a webinar last week and somebody told me they're paying $12,000. so you'd rather pay $11,880 for more than pay $120 a year. I said, okay, well, why don't you send me the money instead? But anyways, Trader's $10 a month. We have their APIs, which allows us to actually automate our equity portfolios for equity members at no charge. Okay. Hedgers pay a licensing fee, but you're still only paying $10 a month. Trader doesn't charge for it. We don't charge for it other than the licensing fee for hedgers. In the meantime, trade your brokerage, try.trader.com/Bubba. That's try.trader.com/Bubba. And for my precious metals friends and partners who always send me nasty hate mail because when I say that we're short gold, as you know, I'm always a buyer of metals, physical, and I buy trade paper. I buy physical. And of course, the only place I do my buying from is a Strategic Wealth Preservation. That is swpcayman.com/Bubba-trading. That's Sierra Whiskey Papa, Charlie Alpha Yankee, Michael Alpha November.com/Bubba-trading. And farmers, I wish they had a family farm group for what I do, because I would love to have their assistance on personnel stuff, all the other crap that I don't want to deal with. But in the meantime, check them out. It's familyfarmsgroup.com/Bubba-trading. That's familyfarmsgroup.com/Bubba-trading. And, our high school program at Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba-trading. That's patreon.com/Bubba-trading. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and our market commentary and what had happened in the past week. Let's do it right now. This is Todd Bubba Horwitz. We're going right back to Bubba's Bottom Line. Welcome back, everybody. It is Sunday, the 5th of December. And of course, we've got markets that had some heartburn last week, some pretty major issues, and we had a monster week. And as I had stated ways back, that we would have and see new equity highs in our portfolios, and many did see those new equity highs. But in the meantime, remember, this update is brought to you by our gold and silver and platinum and physical metals dealer, who I do all my shopping with, and that is Strategic Wealth Preservation, swpcayman.com/Bubba-trading. So as we look back, and of course, we started out the week kind of split, but ended up the week short all the indexes across the board, and they all got hammered. Okay. They had some movement back and forth, but basically they got hammered, and they looked like they could be in for a long ride down. Again, look, we could turn, we could change, and you can bet your ass there's going to be some rip your face off rallies. Markets do not go straight up or straight down. There is some dramatic moves in between, but the trends have definitely changed, and certainly we could see that becoming, a much bigger problem, going forward. But we are short. We're short them all. And I think the last one we did to short was the Qs or the NASDAQ. Okay. We remain short the metals markets. They look awful. Okay. Yeah, they had a little bit of a rally on Friday. So what? Okay. It wasn't even really that good of a rally concerning the selling, but we're short gold and we're short silver, which both look like they want to take out much lower levels. Platinum, we don't trade anymore because it's not liquid enough, but certainly, full disclosure, I'm buying platinum in physical platinum, buying coins, because I believe in it. I think it's on sale, but it does look awful from a trading standpoint. If I could trade it, I'd be shorted. Okay. But again, the bonds and the notes, we're long. Right now you've got some interesting action going on, and, we have to be long bonds and notes, which means that basically our position suggests that interest rates are going to drop. But we know that Powell is going to have to hike rates to handle this inflation. That's one of the ways you can solve it, but it's really not solving it. It's really creating a bigger problem because, again, the government debt that's involved. There's a whole bunch of things that go into all this crap, which is why we've stayed so low for so long. But in the meantime, crude oil just finished its fifth week in a row lower, which is kind of interesting. We're paying a lot more at the pump, and there's a lot of issues, and we went to the strategic reserve, but yet his prices are still flying. But I would say to you, I'm happy we're short. Okay. And I'm happy that they're going down, but I would suspect that I will predict in 2022, oil will see over $100 a barrel. And this is, unless we go back to allowing the fracking and the drilling and so on and so forth. In the meantime, Bitcoin had an ugly week. But look, we said that we thought the ranges were 50,000 to 60,000. We're at 52. You can't get so excited about what happened. There was a couple of big sales. There was a couple of panic moves. There was a couple of people that got caught over leverage. It sold off 52,000. Think about it. It was $1 one time. It was 3,000. Now it's 50,000. Probably going to 100. Okay, we're fans. I mean, again, I will tell you what I always say. I think Bitcoin is real. I think you should be in it, but I would never put more than I could afford to lose in a weekend in Las Vegas. Okay. And copper, lower again. Now it's been lower, I think, 4 out of the last 5 weeks. But it's been holding. But, copper and lumber are pretty much bellwethers of the economy, and they're kind of mixed. And, they look like the housing slows down, building slows down. It's going to cause a problem. But we're short copper still. Natural gas got clobbered, which is always interesting at this time of year. But we're still short nat gas, which has been one hell of a trade as well. As you look into the grain markets, basically we're short beans, we're short wheat, and long corn. Now, beans had a nice pop on Friday, and we'll see if that holds. We'll probably have to reverse back. We benefited greatly from wheat on the big rally up, and of course, it got clobbered for a few days. We had to reverse, and corn is still just trucking along. But I do think that 2022 is going to be a pretty good year for farmers, and I think that, of course, demand is going to be increasing. And of course, not only is there demand, but there's weather issues that are great. And of course, in the protein complex, we're long feeder cattle, which got hurt a little bit last week. We're short fat cattle or live cattle, and they were a little bit lower. And we're short hogs, and they were lower. Now, hogs are extremely high for this time of year, but again, you have to be able to equate in the overall inflation. You remember, it's not just a hog that's born and it grows. I mean, it's got to be fed. It takes fuel. There's so many, the input costs are so high for farmers right now. So, the profit margins are very tight, even though prices are expensive. They don't get the same benefit of the retailer of just raising prices because people are going to come in and buy. Okay. And there is some competition throughout the globe. And of course, in the softs department, okay, cotton, which we're short, was lower and got hammered pretty good. Coffee continues to go to Pluto. So just be prepared to pay more money at Starbucks. And of course, Starbucks will go up, but they'll never come down. OJ, we're short and it got hammered. Cocoa, we're short and, worked its way, a little bit lower, and sugar is lower, and we're short that as well. So we're in pretty good shape. I mean, we had every portfolio was in the green and in the green nicely. And I think it's just something that you have to look for and understand about how markets actually function. Because the way to make money in today's world of trading and investing is to be with the overall trend. The days of the floor trader, which is what I did for 30 years, and the scalpers and those guys, those days are over because you can't get an edge. The key is the trading. And remember, when you see the stories about the active options trades and things like that, and you hear about the volatility, remember, you don't know what the other side of that trade is. Okay. Just for example, for those who don't know, and many of you may know, but either way, if calls are always the number one strategy. Calls are always the first thing that is bought, but you don't know that there's not something on the other side of that trade that is like selling stock, which is actually makes a synthetic put. So just be careful. Don't get trapped into and fall in for the garbage of the 99%ers, those who promise you returns that are too good to be true, because you know what? They are just too good to be true. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, December the 5th, and we're going to step out for a break and come back with our course commentary and our football selection, which we're on fire and fuego. So let's step out of here for a break. Bubba's Bottom Line. Well, guys, everybody, again, I'm just going to pop you out the links real quick, for CTG Capital Trading Group, info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. That's for futures and commodities and letter of direction trading. Equity brokerage, try.tradier.com/Bubba. That's try.tradier.com/Bubba, and that is for your equities and options at $10 a month. FamilyFarmsGroup.com/Bubba-Trading. check them out. Again, they're great help to farmers who would rather do the farming and do that work versus the human resources crap. Okay. And of course, our high school program at Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. That's patreon.com/Bubba Trading. Let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line. And of course, my commentary and more importantly, my football selection. Welcome back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, December the 5th. And, look, what was really troubling about the country today? Forget about the side of politics you sit on. I mean, I am neither. I'm really a libertarian. I really sit in the middle. I mean, I do not like the progressive agenda. I do not like who's in office now. But full disclosure, I never liked him anyways. He was always a hater and a dumbass. But at the end of the day, I really hate that you cannot even have an opinion today. You could be talking to people that you know well, or you thought you knew well, and if you're not on if you don't follow their opinion, you're wrong. There's a fight. Nobody's happy, and I find that to be very troubling because again, that's really just another chip that is taking away the freedom of America, the freedom of expression, the freedom of opinion, the freedom of discussion, to be able to talk with somebody and actually disagree, but remain friends. And to me, this is really the part of the conquer and divide agenda, which makes things even tougher. And again, I think that, the ability to have conversation, because the ability to listen and potentially learn something from somebody else's opinion and not always jump to be critical, whichever side they're on, I think is the backbone of America. And I can continue to see our spine drying up because, of course, the progressive agenda is spineless. Anyways, it is football night in America, and the Denver Broncos go and visit the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know. Kansas City can't cover anybody. I don't know if they can win. But Vic Fangio and Denver's, I don't know. They're always a challenge. Look, I'm going to go with Denver. I'm going to take the points because Kansas City doesn't cover anyways. And I don't know if Patrick Mahomes is the Patrick Mahomes we know, but I've been disappointed so many times with Denver in the past in the same spot. But I'm a glutton for punishment. And we're going to step out and step into Denver for tonight. And we'll see you back here from Las Vegas tomorrow with a Bubba's Daily Update. And of course, next Sunday with Bubba's Bottom Line. And there are no new trades. We are positioned as we are. So we'll see you all either tomorrow for Bubba's Daily Update or next Sunday for Bubba's Bottom Line. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bubba signing off. We'll see you later.